Hi guys, my name is Brett Leishner and this is Module 8. Let's get started. The summary to Reading 1. This looked like it was something that was put out by the union. It was addressing the Every Student Succeeds Act. This act was something that is going to give more local control to school districts and states in regards to evaluation. So it's going to play a big role in evaluation. It's not going to allow the federal government to dictate evaluation. It is also going to limit student growth mandates, meaning they are going to limit the amount or the percentage that a pretest, post-test type student growth metric can be used in an evaluation system. So that's going to be limited from this law. Summary 2. This was a bunch of court cases involving teacher evaluation, and there were several court cases across the nation. There were several that were still in progress regarding evaluation. All of them that were not in progress, though, that had been decided, they had all been decided on the side of the state or the school district. The union lost every case that was presented in that reading that was completed. Now, there were several cases still pending, so we don't know what that would look like, but there were several cases that were completed, and those completed cases, the state or the school district won. Summary for Reading 3. This article discussed the kind of how we've gotten to where we are with teacher evaluation. So it was the start of the teacher evaluation reform. Now, it talks about why this started. It references a study done by Stanford that discussed how an excellent teacher can bring their kids a whole year above grade level, and a poor teacher, a poor rated teacher, can only bring them along through one semester. So that's a big difference, obviously. And so this kind of led to some public outcry, which then led to a new eval system. And this new eval system is using student growth metrics to inform evaluation ratings. The article goes on to talk about what was the union response. The union is skeptical of this new evaluation system. The union talks about how teachers can game the system in regards to how they can teach to the test, make the test kind of manipulate the way that they do things to make the test go smoother. So the union doesn't really necessarily like this new way of evaluating. And then the final question that the article asks is, does it work? The article kind of comes to a yes and no conclusion, and that more study needs to be done. There have been some studies that say, yes, it is working. Some studies say, no, it's not. Essentially what the article came to is that it's inconclusive and that there's more studies that need to be done to figure this out, to see if it is working. So moving on to what an evaluation at my school looks like at Porta Junior Senior High. We follow the Danielson model in terms of our evaluation system. So the Danielson model really looks at student achievement, student engagement. It also is really big in reflection, like why did we do what we did? The Danielson model also really looks at the teacher's ability to not only just teach, but to be a good coworker, to grow professionally. It is very difficult to achieve an excellence in some of these categories in the Danielson model. The way that Danielson kind of refers to it is like excellence is like an Olympic swimmer. Proficient would be maybe like a collegiate swimmer, and then you go down, so on and so forth. Also, in our evaluations, we have SLOs or SLOs. Those are student learning objectives. That is our pre-test, post-test student growth metric that we use. And so as a teacher, we actually get to pick the tests as long as they're approved by our administration. We can pick the tests that we want our SLOs to be based off of. And then those SLOs go into our evaluation, and they are 30% of our evaluation. So we have to just show student growth. And then tenure is part of the evaluation system, obviously, and tenured teachers after 4 years, a teacher is tenured, and then they are evaluated once every other year instead of twice every year. And so they do the same type of evaluation, it's just less frequent. So that is evaluations at Porta. Porta evaluations continued as far as if we have any type of problem or if we don't agree with our evaluation. We are allowed to note any problem, and then that note goes into our permanent file along with that evaluation, and then that is something that can be, it gets brought up when our evaluation is brought up. So that is the kind of the way we can address that. Everything is dictated and ran by the Illinois School Code, which is just the state law for what schools can and can't do. And if an administrator wants to fire us for cause, right, not just like rifting or anything like that, but if we are getting fired for cause, they have to follow the Illinois School Code. And if we feel like that is something that is unwarranted or unjustified, then we can contact our union rep, and then the union rep will start getting things going as far as getting lawyers on it. All we have to do is contact the union rep to get that going. And then obviously, if the union feels like we have a case, then possible litigation against the school can occur. And that, again, is all done through the union. As far as past litigations go, I chose Robinson versus Stewart. This was an interesting one to me. It was a case in Florida, and the union brought this case against a school in Florida that used merit-based pay in their evaluation system. And the union argued that this was against the law because the law states that teachers' salaries will be collectively bargained, and that this was not a collective bargaining pay. It was based off of merit. And they also said that through this law that the executive branch was being granted legislative powers that were unconstitutional. And the state won this, and so the school was allowed to continue their process. As far as thinking like an administrator, trying to decide what I would do in some of these scenarios, the very first thing that I would do when I become a principal would be I would make sure I knew the contract. As far as the teacher's contract, I would make sure that was something that I had a very, very good understanding of. And before I made any decisions, I would consult the contract, making sure that I wasn't in violation of anything dealing with the teacher's contract. I would document all my experiences with the teachers and things like that, so that I have documentation that can cover me in case any accusation was levied against me. I would keep all the emails, all that kind of stuff, so that if something ever were to happen, I would have documentation to back my side of the story up. And then also, I would be familiar with all the state laws regarding education, know those forwards and backwards, so that I would not break any state laws. And then I just simply follow the law. I wouldn't try to do anything that is kind of in a gray area, because I think that's where you can get in trouble. I would follow the law. And then I'm hoping that I would be able to build a relationship with the union president, and the executive board of the union, so that if there is any confusion before anything happens, that communicative door is open to where I can go and reach out and talk to the union president about things, to make sure that there is no confusion, that everyone's staying, that no one's in breach of a contract or anything like that. So I would hope that I could have that relationship with the union to kind of help me make sure that nothing that I do is going to be against the law or against the contract. So that's a little bit about what I would do as an administrator in these scenarios. I do realize, though, that there are scenarios that you can't do all these things, that they do fall in gray areas, and you may not be able to ask the union president and things like that. And I'd take those on a case-by-case basis and just hopefully be able to think through those and research through those and make the best decision for my school district that ultimately is the best decision for my kids. So that's the main point of everything, is to make sure every decision that is made is in the best interest of kids. So if I use that as my compass, I feel like I feel like I'll be all right. So that was Module 8. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.